Hello, I'm Alan Stanley, one of the licensed lay ministers in the Elmeet Trinity Benefice. Welcome to this reflection for Maundy Thursday. Maundy Thursday, the name is derived from the Latin word which means command, and it's the day we read about Jesus washing his disciples' feet and giving them the command to love one another just as he loved them. Using words, art and music, we're going to reflect on Jesus washing his disciples' feet. Sally has created our wonderful illustrations, and she and John are joining me in today's special extended reflection from John chapter 13. John will now read the passage for us.
Jesus washes his disciples' feet. John chapter 13. It was just before the Passover festival. Jesus knew that the hour had come for him to leave this world and go to the Father. Having loved his own who were in the world, he loved them to the end. The evening meal was in progress, and the devil had already prompted Judas, the son of Simon Iscariot, to betray Jesus. Jesus knew that the Father had put all things under his power, and that he had come from God and was returning to God. So he got up from the meal, took off his outer clothing, and wrapped a towel round his waist. After that he poured water into a basin and began to wash his disciples' feet, drying them with the towel that was wrapped around him. He came to Simon Peter, who said to him,
"Lord, are you going to wash my feet?"
Jesus replied, "You do not realize now what I am doing, but later you will understand."
"No,"
said Peter.
"you shall never wash my feet."
Jesus answered, "Unless I wash you, you have no part with me."
"Then, Lord,"
Simon Peter replied,
"not just my feet, but my hands and my head as well."
Jesus answered, "Those who have had a bath need only to wash their feet. Their whole body is clean. And you are clean, though not every one of you." For he knew who was going to betray him, and that was why he said not everyone was clean. When he had finished washing their feet, he put on his clothes and returned to his place. "Do you understand what I have done for you?" he asked them. "You call me teacher and Lord, and rightly so, for that is what I am. Now that I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you should also wash one another's feet. I have set you an example that you do as I have done for you. Very truly I tell you, no servant is greater than his master, nor is a messenger greater than the one who sent him. Now that you know these things, you will be blessed if you do them." And verse 34, "I give you a new commandment, love one another. You must love one another just as I have loved you."
We're going to reflect on that reading through three different lenses. The first is the lens of Jesus himself. The second is from Peter's viewpoint. And the third is through the lens of your life and mine today. So first, let's look through Jesus' lens. John.
He got up from the meal, took off his outer clothing, and wrapped a towel around his waist. After that, he poured water into a basin and began to wash his disciples' feet, drying them with the towel that was wrapped around him.
This action of Jesus is scandalous. It's totally unprecedented. Feet washing in the ancient world was a task not just unthinkable for a master or a teacher, it was often unthinkable for a household servant and frequently delegated to the lowest of the slaves. For Jesus, the popular preacher, healer and miracle worker, to do this was just beyond belief. So why did Jesus do it? First, and possibly most obviously, as a great example of his love for his followers then and now. To try and help you get into the absolute enormity of Jesus washing someone's feet, let me tell you about a phone call I got from a mostly bedridden friend of mine a few years ago. He suffered terribly from constipation, and on this particular day his wife had gone out for a rare day away from the house. He rang me in the morning. "Alan, I've had a bit of an accident. Can you come round and clean me up and bring your marigolds?" He and the whole of the bed were a mess when I arrived. Jesus washing the disciples' feet would be like the Queen going round to my friend's house to clean him up. What amazing love Jesus shows in this astonishingly simple action. Sally.
Lord, the depth of your love for your followers is astonishing. Today I want to thank you for that love. Today I want to receive more of that love.
As we receive that love, we notice that it was just the feet of his disciples that Jesus washed, because, as he said, his disciples were already clean all over. By his presence in their lives, he had cleansed them from the big mess of their sins. Now all that remained was the day-to-day dirt and dust that feet pick up.
Lord, thank you that you cleansed me from my sin when you came into my life. Today I ask you to forgive those sins which I have committed in the last few hours and days. The times I have not loved you with my whole heart, or not loved my neighbour as much as I love myself. Forgive me and make me new, I pray.
Let's look now through the Peter lens. John.
He came to Simon Peter, who said to him,
Lord, are you going to wash my feet?
Jesus replied, "You do not realize now what I am doing, but later you will understand."
No,
Said Peter.
you shall never wash my feet.
Jesus answered, "Unless I wash you, you have no part with me."
Then, Lord,
Simon Peter replied,
not just my feet, but my hands and my head as well.
Do you see what's going on here? Peter is actually rejecting the grace of God. He's rejecting Jesus' offer of cleansing and forgiveness. He may be doing that for what he sees as good, sound, cultural reasons. Jesus is greater than him, so Jesus should in no way be permitted to do something so menial for him. Then Peter goes on to make matters worse, if that were possible. You shall never wash my feet. Peter has totally misunderstood Jesus. He wants to separate Jesus' actions from his words, but we can't do that. Jesus' actions and words are one and the same. The washing of feet and forgiving of sins belong together, just as the healing of the paralysed man and the forgiving of his sins cannot be separated, just as Jesus having compassion on the crowds that followed him cannot be separated from him feeding them with loaves and fishes. Sally.
Lord, thank you for your wholeness, for the fact that what you do and what you say all point to your boundless love for us all. Help me today to see in this gospel account of what you did the perfect wholeness of your life on earth.
Peter continues to misunderstand Jesus. He says, "Okay, I get it. If you do not wash me, I can have no part in you. So wash my hands and head as well. Then I will have an even bigger part in you." Do you see what's happening? Peter's understanding is growing, but he's trying to control the relationship between him and Jesus. Foot washing is not enough, he says. I need more. It's as if what Jesus is offering somehow needs a bit more adding. Something to do with Peter's brain and brawn, his head and his hands. He still hasn't understood that he can add nothing to God's grace, to Jesus' cleansing of his sins.
Lord, help me to see that I can add nothing to your grace in forgiving me and welcoming me in through Jesus. Help me to see that I can't think my way into receiving your love and forgiveness. Help me to see that I can't work my way into receiving your forgiveness.
Our final lens to view this incident through is the lens of our own lives. John.
When he had finished washing their feet, he put on his clothes and returned to his place. "Do you understand what I have done for you?" he asked them. "You call me teacher and Lord, and rightly so, for that is what I am. Now that I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also should wash one another's feet. I have set you an example, that you should do as I have done for you. Very truly I say, no servant is greater than his master, nor is a messenger greater than the one who sent him. Now that you know these things, you will be blessed if you do them." Verse 34. "I give you a new commandment. Love one another. You must love one another just as I have loved you."
You should wash one another's feet. Only Jesus can wash the whole body for forgiveness of sins, but each of us who follow him can wash the feet of our brothers and sisters. Like him, we can serve each other with hearts and minds bent to humble service of others. Foot washing was then the great symbol of hospitality and welcome. It was our "Welcome, come in, will you have a cup of tea?" In the East, hospitality was and is even more important than it is in the West. It's at the core of what being Eastern means. By giving us his command to love one another, just like he loves us, Jesus is doing two things. He's giving us his permission, his commission, to do things that may scandalize others by breaking the social norms. He's giving us no easy choice to decide to do what he did and said or not to. It's a command, a mandatum, in Latin a Maundy Thursday instruction, to show love to others, to love others in ways which shatter our society norms but reflect Jesus' words and actions. Sally.
Lord, today bring across my path ideas and opportunities to show your love in ways which honour you, and perhaps in ways which challenge me.
We go into the world now to walk in God's light and to share God's love. Thank you for joining Sally, John and me today. May the Lord bless us and keep us. May the Lord make his face to shine upon us and be gracious to us. And may the Lord turn his face towards us and give us his peace. Amen.